this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today I'm having another little play with my new Lavinia stamps. I've got the wishing post here. I think this is PIPSPELL, the one with a bauble here, but I will only use the mouse today and I'll show you how to mask this off. And I will probably have a play with my star pine, is it called star pine? Just to fill the space above the wishing post a little bit. And the overall design is inspired by a photo I saw on the Lavinia For You Facebook page, and a lady called Lynn. She created a design with the wishing post, a few of the mice, and she, I assume, drew pictures of letters to go into the post box. So I thought today, wouldn't it be nice if I created a proper slot here? Sorry, the slot should go there. That's for the little word stamp there, and inserted just a tiny little envelope with maybe a little gift voucher that I can then give away. So that's my plan for today. And I did get out my acetate hill masks. I bought these ages ago, but it's one of those things, I don't think I've ever used them. I don't recall using them. And every time I go to the shop and I see them, I'm thinking, oh, I'm sure I've got them. You know, better not buy them. So I resisted this time. And yes, I did find them in my stencil and mask folder. So I'm going to use them today. You don't need this. What they are, these are 4 pieces of acetate. I'm not sure how well the camera picks it up. And they've got different cuts in them. So you can easily create, you know, hills and mountains. But if you don't have those, you don't need those. You can cut hills like that by hand, just with your scissors. You can tear paper. You can create those if you've got dies that do those lines. You can do those as well. So it's not an essential, but it's nice to have them. So and this is what I'm starting off with, creating a bit of a hill for my wishing post to sit on, and also I will come back with that later to create some shading underneath. So I'm using the acetate with a picture to just get an idea how far I actually want to move this down. I want to leave some space. I mustn't forget later, and I'm saying that to you now so you remind me that I need to move this to the left to have space for the mouse on the right. So I think I just want this at the bottom here, and I've chosen one of the flatter ones. I didn't want any of those super hilly ones. And this is something that I asked Joe Rice at the Dreamatorium on the open day. If you want to create snow, you work your way up. If you want to create, I hope I'm doing this right. Or did she say the other way around? No, that's right. If you want to create some sky, you need to work that way up. If you want to create snow, you work your way down. I do want snow, but I also want sky, so maybe I just start off like this. You only want a little bit of ink. I'm using the Blue Lagoon because that's my lightest ink I have got. I'm just testing it on the side. And I just want a hint of ink. So I'm starting on the mask and I'm just going across the edge here. And you might think you haven't got anything down, and if you, oops, I shouldn't have shifted it. And if you lift it up, you can see you actually have got some ink there. So I'm just adding a little bit more. You can go in a circular motion if you want to. You can use a thinner stencil brush, but it might not look like I've got anything, but if I lift it up, you can see I actually have got that. So I'm happy with that. I think I will put a little bit of a hilly mountain in the background. I thought about adding some more sky, but I can do that later. So I'm not inking this up again. Really just want this little bit down like that. Yeah, and ideally I didn't pay too much attention. You move your line around a little bit so you don't have the same sort of hill going all the way up. Do I want another one? I could do. So maybe at a different angle. I'm doing it the wrong way around again, aren't I? So, and again, I'm not picking up any more ink. What you can do is just increase the pressure a little bit. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So that's something I definitely need to practice a little bit more, because I haven't done this a lot. So I think I will then go in and stamp the wishing post. I am contemplating whether I want to use the acrylic block or the stamping platform, but I think I'll be okay with this. So, and I will stamp that in the pine cone, I think, if I find it. Oh yeah, it's on the desk here. You could use the black one if you wanted to, but I think brown is quite nice, especially with the wintry scenes. I find it's a little bit less harsh to the eye. So I will turn this sideways because I think I've got a better application then. And I will set it down a little bit below this line. I don't want it to sit on that hill. So about there, I'm trying to have it straight though. Although in the fairy world, if a wishing post is wonky, it doesn't matter. So, and as always, give it plenty of time for the ink to seep into the cardstock. Lovely. Can you see? So, and I think I'm contemplating, do I want the mouse straight away? I think I'll do the mouse as well. So for the mouse, this is still on the acrylic block from last time. So I actually off camera, I will give it a quick clean because I don't want any residue of this to end up on my card here. And then I'll show you how I ink this up. I have got my Scotch removable tape. You can just use some washi tape, you can use some post-it notes, anything is fine really. And what I do with that is I place this above the paw. Yeah, if I got a little bit more on there, a little bit exposed, it doesn't matter. And I will put my fingernail through here so it doesn't cover the snout. I could put another piece across there, but I think I'm fine. And then the other piece I'm placing below. Again, I'm placing it a little bit over that, as in over the stalk, and then I can use my finger to press it down there so that I'm not covering that paw and the other paw and the tummy. Maybe washi tape would be better in this case, but it's just a very temporary thing. So making sure that the paw here is properly exposed. So, and then I can ink this up. I'm avoiding the bit of branch at the top. Again, plenty of ink. So I can already see I've shifted this a little bit, so I have to go in afterwards. So I'm taking these off. Make sure you put them somewhere where they don't bleed onto your project, or put them straight in the bin. And then I can see, yeah, I've got a little bit of ink below and above that paw. So I'm just taking here my little cloth. I'm just going to wipe that away. That might appear as a hint when I'm stamping, but I think I'll be okay. You could get a cotton bud out if you wanted to. Let's see if I can get my little inky binky. And I'd rather wipe away a little bit too much and come in with a pencil afterwards, or my paintbrush, than have too much there. So because the versifying clear stays wet for so long, you've got plenty of time to play around with that. So, and I think I'll place him here a little bit away so he's got a good view. Can have a little bit lower. Nope, I'll put him on the same height as the wishing post. So I think you will have to have something in his paw to hold, but I'll have a think what that'll be. Lovely. Can you see? There is, if you know it, there is a hint of that stem there, but otherwise it looks like it's just a little mouse, maybe already spotting the envelope that we will have there. So I'll have a little think what I'll do with that. So I just want to fill in the top a little bit, not too much, because I don't want to take away the focus of that post. But it's just because I decided to go DL that I need a little something there. So I think I will just come in with this branch. I want to leave some space here, so I don't want to stamp too close to that. So I'm really just doing it at the top. I will not have any, you know, the sugar pine cones. They would be lovely, but I don't want too much going on at the top. So, and then I just will stamp some of these. We'll just do a few on camera and then I'll show you how I do the rest off camera. I'm just picking the ink. Might come in with a shady line. Although I can't really see that on green cardstock, but I think that's a good colour. So now I haven't worked with these before. You've got different sizes and different length here of stem as well. So just make sure you overlap them a little bit with that branch. So I'm leaving some gaps in between to fill this in. So coming in with the other one. Could always do some second generation if I feel I need to fill this up. Oh, didn't put enough pressure there. And did you see how quickly I picked it up as well from the paper? I should have taken more time to do that, but that's not a problem. So I'll put one on the end here. Yeah, and then let me just show you that. I will now do some second generation stamping. I won't use the biggest one, so I will stamp it off, and then I'll tell you what I will do though. Take my Inky Binky and I will wipe this off a little bit, so if I do overlap with a branch, I don't have this bit here sticking out on the other side. So I'm varying the angle a little bit now. If I was more mindful when I'm inking it up, I wouldn't have to wipe it. So show you what I mean. And didn't stamp off, did I? Okay, so if I just take my ink pad like this and I leave the bit that I don't want ink up off the ink pad, and I don't need to wipe it, but I need to remember to stamp it. So I'm trying to fill in the gaps. So take your time when you do that. This is the sort of sometimes tricky bit for me because I have to concentrate a lot. It's not one of those things that comes naturally to me. So I might want a first generation there at the end because the branch just looks a bit bold there. So definitely I'll do first generation here just to finish that edge of the card. The second generation to fill that in. I've got a bit of white there. You can leave white spaces. Don't feel like you're not allowed to, but I decided now to fill this in. So I'm just turning it this way around, so I need something there. I might just come in with the other one again. if I find it. Bear with me. It was right in front of my nose. Couldn't see it. Jeez. So yeah, I will just have one more of those. Maybe again, to see if I can take that off there. Yeah, I like that. So I think that'll be enough just at the top. So, okay. So I'll have a little think what I want him to hold. I think I want some greenery at the bottom just to tie, just to tie the top in. So I have got the winter foliage. I think that would be nice at the bottom. And I will also choose a stamp for the sign there, and then I will have to colour this all in. I have decided to use the winter foliage set to add some foliage here at the bottom and also to add something for the hand of the mouse. So I have chosen this one here. Don't ask me what it's called. I know what it is in German. It's called a Lebensbaum. I'm using the Shady Lane again for that. And I just want to stamp two behind the tree. So I'm just using a little bit of scrap paper and I'm just adding that on the bottom here. So I can add one here. And then I will also do the same on the other side. Don't mind it overlapping a little bit because I will come in with a darker brown afterwards for the trunk. So I will, I think, do a little bit in the front. I'll tell you what, no, I like it like that. I don't want to put anything in the front, I think. So, and then I've chosen the thing that looks like a mistletoe for the mouse's hand. I have looked at other things that I considered, which is the mini heart would be like nice. Also the Christmas charms. Let me just show them to you. They're these here. I think they would be lovely, like a balloon if you put them upside down. So I had a play with that. That would be nice, but because I want the mouse to focus on the postbox, I didn't want to do that for this card, but I think that would be a nice idea. So I'm just inking this up with the spruce, and then I want to stamp that into the mouse's hand. I don't mind it overlapping a little bit, even if it's the berries, because I'm sure I will colour them in with my new white pen anyway. So, but I thought with it being a mistletoe, by the way, I stamped in the Christmas there. I did that off camera because I like to get my nose above the card. I thought this might make a nice card actually for my husband, because, you know, with a mistletoe, and yeah, I think he's gorgeous. Look at him. Look at his little face. So before I do any colouring, I will actually add a little bit more colour to the sort of sky here. So I'm just getting my ink blending brush out again, and I'm trusting that I've got enough ink left here on the brush to fill in the sky. This should have dried now. I should have blotted it. So I'm just coming in from the top and I'm working my way down just so that the sky bit is not that harsh. I don't really want to get too close to that edge because then our hill line disappears, but I really just want to add a little bit here, and I'll probably add some snow later with my new pen. Could come in a little bit darker if you wanted to, but I really didn't want to add too much. You could use a what's it called, a moon mask, but I think I'm just fine with that. I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but in real life that's definitely blue and not white anymore. So I'm getting my watercolor pencils out. I think they work nice. You could go bold and use your Kuretake pens. Any pencils are fine. I'm not great with alcohol markers, so I try to avoid them. So yeah, just if you've got quite a few options, or you could use your Elements inks with water and a paintbrush. You could use them as well. So many options you have got for colouring in. I've got a selection here of my watercolour pencils, so I won't be using them with water, but you can. I just like them as a soft crayon. I have got some crayons as well, but because at Lavinia they used the Mondeluz, I got inspired to use my watercolour pencils here from Derwent. So the important thing I find is that with a mouse, you definitely need to give him a little base, a little shadow. So a little bit here on the tail, and then a little bit, and I like to use my finger. I'm not sure whether that does a lot, but in my head it does create a little bit of a mixing effect. And then I think for the tree I will put a tiny bit of brown here at the base, really just a hint. I'm just dabbing it on rather than actually colouring it in. So, and the rest of the colouring, I think I will speed this up, or maybe, yeah, I think I'll speed it up. I don't think it will take long. So I'll just go in with maybe 2-3 browns. I've got mixed browns and like an ochre colour. Same for the mouse as well. So just to have a variation here. And I have got a little bit of green just to colour this in. I've got a red or a pink for the mouse's ears, and I like to give them cheeks. We have got shading already from the stamp where we've got darker areas, but you could intensify them by just coming in with a darker colour or applying a little bit more pressure. So you might have seen me come in with my eraser. I want to show you what I've been colouring with. I mean, it's not a surprise I went over the edges. I should have sharpened my pencils before, but I think it's been okay. Gone a little bit over here as well. So, and basically what you saw me do, or I hope you did anyway, is I came in very randomly with the colours and started colouring bits in. I still have to add a little bit more, but I was conscious that was going over the edges. So basically came in from different areas with 2 colours, and then came in with a third one just to fill in any gaps. So I will probably be better off getting my water brush out and mixing these a little bit, but I think because I want to keep this video as short as possible, I will just leave it like this. So as I said, I can go in with darker colour here again, just add a little bit more shading. I also found that the colour that's a little bit like an ochre, that covers a little bit more, that's a little bit more opaque than some of the other colours. So, and I haven't done the door frame yet, or the signs themselves, because I still have to think about what colour I want them. So, I didn't do the green as I said I would, so I'm just colouring that in. So, and I think for, you know, elements like that and for the berries, I will definitely come in with my white opaque pens. I actually changed my mind. I don't need a white pen here because 2 of the berries are actually shown here on the white, so I don't need that. But I decided to come in with a yellow, this is a deep cadmium, for these signs here. At first I thought I'd do them with a gold pen, but I don't know how well that works with the stamping. I'm also doing that around here. I thought about coming in with my gold wing of Stella, but because they're opaque, those pens, I don't even want to cover any stamping here. And I think I might just come in with a red for that door frame. So now I need to do two more things, and that is I want to add some snow. So I will get my pen out that of this one here, yeah. So that's the Zig Mangaka opaque liner. I bought that at Lavinia Stamps. I'd never heard of it before. I saw it in the shop and I just grabbed it, and that's great to create snow. And I also need to cut the little slot here, slit for the envelope, and I have to create a little envelope. I'm just using a craft knife to cut this little slot, so I will actually just cut out what is black here. So I don't have my glasses on, but I think I'll be okay. So cut across here, cut across here, and then hopefully this will release. It's a very small line, obviously, so I can have a look from the back. So I can go in from the back again. This is my usual 300 GSM cardstock, so it's very thick, but it should release. If it doesn't, I can always come in with my tiny scissors. Nope. I'm just getting conscious how small the envelope will have to be that I'm going to create for this, but it doesn't matter. So I'm just neatening this up again, just take loose bits out. And if you have got like white showing here now, I don't know if the camera picks it up, what you can do is come in with a black pen from the back. So let me just find one that I hope doesn't bleed. Maybe just get my alcohol marker. Usually I'm not very lucky with that. Might be better off just with a felt pen. So I'm just coming in on the edge there, and that will just take away, you know, basically hide the black bits there. And I think I'm okay with that. Looks like it wants to bleed already, but hey ho. So, yeah, I waited with the snow until I had cut that because I didn't want that to, you know, the snowflakes to be smeared. So I'm just testing this here, and then I can add the snow like that. I'm not very good with Posca splats, and I think this pen is great. So I can really control where I've got those, and also they give me a very even look. So I'm not putting anything at the bottom there, because obviously the snowflakes would land on that spot. So, but I will add a little bit on the snow's head here. Sorry, the mouse's head. I will definitely add some snow on the post box. I might come in with some white stickers afterwards, but I'm definitely adding generous amount here. And I'm not drawing a complete line. I'm really sort of half dragging, half dabbing it. See where else it would catch, probably here. Maybe a little bit on these areas here because they're sticking out. A little bit catching on the bottom, and then have a little bit of snow on here as well on the branch. Oh, and this is why I'd like to dab it off on the side, so if too much comes out you don't have it on the card, and I can actually pick that stuff up and also basically brush that onto here. So don't overthink it. I'm trying not to put any snow on the second generation because it won't show up there anyway. So I think that's enough. Having a look. Maybe a few bits and bobs here. So maybe on top of the door and the door handle, which I haven't coloured in, but that's okay. Bit on the signs, they stand out. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I'm stepping away. So let me just show that to you. I haven't put any lights on today, so the snowflakes are very faint here, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, if I wanted to add anything else, I could do that later. So I'm leaving that to dry, and then I just figure out how to create the little envelope that goes in here. The slot in the post box is 1/2 inch wide, so I have cut a little rectangle that is under 1/2 inch and 1 inch in height, or rather width, because this will be a DL card. And I have taken, this is just, I don't know, some scrap paper, might even be like 250 GSM, and this is a lighter weight cardstock. Copy paper would be fine, I just couldn't find anything in the craft room. So I'm putting some glue on this, and I'm sitting this towards the corner here, but I'm leaving a little bit of a gap on either side. Let me just zoom in for you so you can see what I'm doing. So maybe like that. I'm trying to have it straight. So just like that. So, and now I need to figure it out because I'm not very good with envelope making. So I need to cut a square that sits about here. Because we're working on a small scale, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I can measure that for you in a second. Probably just there and there. So I'm basically, well, the idea was to have the same gap there that I had at the bottom, but I don't. As you can see, I'm currently winging it, so probably need to go a little bit in here. So which one? That would be 1 1/4. Hopefully that's 1 1/4 approximately. So I'm just using my scissors to cut that. I hope I'm still on camera because I'm zoomed in. So, and then all I want to do is fold the paper over the edges I have basically created with a middle piece. That's why I wanted to have that rectangle there. It's very fiddly. And also be mindful that your piece has actually dried, otherwise it will move. This one I haven't folded properly. So the same with this one here. That's a wee bit too long actually, but it doesn't matter. So what you then do is these little triangles that I have created, they need to be cut away. Really fiddly, but it'll look good. Obviously, if you want to have, you know, have a little voucher, a little greeting, it might even be an idea to print something off on the computer and stick on here rather than trying to write on a small piece of paper like that. But I've got a really fine pen, or you could just say with love or Merry Christmas. Use one of the little stamps that comes with a post box. So I'm just measuring these here. These are a bit too high, so I need to cut that one down definitely. So I'm just cutting it off like this. So I hope I'm still doing this right. This needs to overlap, can you see? So, but this one here I need to cut down as well. So I'm just marking this. Sorry, I'm eyeballing this and it's not a perfect tutorial. So I'm just going in on this angle here and try to have the same angle there so that this tip is in the middle here. And then, yeah, I've got an envelope. That's good enough. I have a little thing now how I close this envelope, because I want to be able to open, so I'm not gluing anything shut. You could do that, obviously, create an envelope, one that you can open, but I really want to have it like this. So I might just draw a little heart on this, and hoping that when I feed it through, it'll stay shut, and hopefully it still fits. If not, I might have to cut the hole just a wee bit. No, a wee bit bigger. No, it does fit. Can you see? Okie dokes. So I'm now going to create the card base off camera. I will take a piece that is 8 by 8. I will score it in the middle, and then I will show you how we glue this down, because I mustn't put any glue around here and, you know, basically leave this area free so that we can feed this through. If you want to, you can put some foam tape around this, but I think because this is not too thick, I'm okay with just having this sort of flat. I'll have a little think off camera, and then I'll let you know what I'll do. I have decided to glue this down flat, but I have put a little strip of cardstock just underneath here, and I put some glue on that as well, because I don't want the envelope sort of to disappear behind. And all the where I haven't put glue is just sort of around the slot there. So I never told you this panel is 3 3/4 by 7 3/4, so this will fit on this 4 by 8 card with a nice little frame. I'm just pressing down on the back, and obviously have a little bit of bulk where I've got that paper strip, but that will hopefully give us a little bit of movement inside here to put the envelope in. And I'm leaving that to dry before I attempt to actually squeeze it through, because the last thing I want this is to get stuck on this little bit. A little tip for getting the envelope in is to just use a piece of scrap cardstock, again not wider than 1/2 inch, and then put it there, and then you can pull this up a little bit and feed that in behind. Pull this out, and then this sits here very nicely. So if I thought about it, as I said, I could have made it a little bit wider, but this is why I said the bottom cardboard piece, the cardstock piece, don't make it 1/2 inch, make it under 1/2 inch, so that when you've got the paper all the way around, it actually fits. So I added a little heart there, I think I didn't mention that, and also just off camera I added some rosy cheeks there. But yeah, I think this is really cute, and this sits here really nicely. It doesn't go down, because this is where I've got the little piece of paper that stops it from sliding actually behind here. And I think this is really cute. I'm really happy with that. Let me just zoom in a little bit so you can see the details. Yeah, and I think these stamps, they're just so cute, so lovely. So anyone, I think, would like to be happy to get a card like this. Yeah, and if you like this card, you might want to give me a thumbs up, and I'd be very happy if you commented, subscribe to my channel, and shared this video. And I'll see you again soon with another video.